Andrew Moloney from SoftIron. First of all, congratulations on the new role. I know you and I have had a long career in tech and networking, but SoftIron is very much a new breed of data center player. Tell us a little bit more about it.
Very much so. So SoftIron are really at the forefront of what we call software-defined data centers. Software-defined storage in particular is kind of a leading area in which we're working in, and really trying to tackle some of the challenges of creating both a flexible infrastructure, but also one that's incredibly power efficient, and doing all of that in a way which is auditable. So you can create a secure provenance around your infrastructure, which we think is going to become incredibly important, especially as we're moving to this kind of third generation of kind of internet infrastructure that we're seeing roll out right now with edge computing, for example.
Yeah, and on September the 8th, when we run this event, which thankfully you're attending and speaking at, we're going to be discussing kind of the next wave of tech after this downturn and the sort of economic crisis that we're in, and hopefully data centers are going to be changing and morphing as well in response. You touched on the kind of battle lines being drawn for the data center. What are those battle lines, and how are the next breed of data centers going to respond?
Yeah, well, I think there's a few things happening, and I think it really centers less around the data center and more around the data itself. The battle really is going to be about how value is created from that data and who gets to create that value, if you like, from the data. Because of edge computing and because of actually hybrid cloud infrastructures, which is a trend that started even before, the current kind of COVID crisis. The data is moving, if you like, and the valuable data is moving further away from the public cloud guys at the moment. And so we're seeing a response to that, as you might imagine, from the public cloud players, the AWSs of the world, the Googles of the world. But also, we're seeing new vendors emerge thinking about data infrastructure in its entirety. So think less about a small number of hyperscale data centers, let's say, and think more about data centers living in places where they didn't used to be. And that presents all sorts of challenges around performance, around efficiency, around security. And we're going to see a very different kind of infrastructure emerge because of that.
So on that security point that you just made, supply chain is the focus of everything at the minute, isn't it? And particularly around resilience. How does your solution really address that security issue? What does it bring to the party?
So I think the one thing you have to start to understand is how IT infrastructure in general, IT products in general are being built these days. Really, even with some of the big brands, you're seeing an assembly of sub-assemblies effectively. So whether it's firmware or chips, or even right down to the motherboards. What we often say at SoftIron is that in some ways, this kind of movement to software defined has implied that hardware doesn't matter anymore. And in fact, it becomes more important, because if you're using a small number of subcontractors, a small number of sub-assemblies, it almost doesn't matter what brand is on the front. Nobody can really trust what's inside the box anymore. Yeah. So our response to that really is to take it right back to every line of source code, manufacture ourselves, build our own PCBs, all in our factory in California. And so for our clients, it means they can get proper auditable provenance all the way down and up through the products, so they can be absolutely sure that they've got a firm foundation, a secure foundation on which to run their infrastructure.
Well, listen, that's fabulous. So September 8th, we're going to be discussing all of this in a bit more detail and much more. So Andrew, thanks very much indeed. We'll regroup on September the 8th at London Tech Week and at Tech, the New Era. Thanks very much indeed.